Good morning, team Vedantu. This is Vishal Seth. Completed my MSc in Biochemistry, MA in English, and I also have done BA. Now, today we will discuss about an interesting chapter that is known as reproduction in organism. Students, let's start this chapter about reproduction in organism. Now, what importance this chapter is having that we have to study this chapter in class 6th, then class in 8th, then class in 10th, and then class in 12th. Means every alternate class is going to teach about the same chapter, and if we have a deep knowledge of this now, once we study it is fulfilled for all the classes. Let's have this chapter, reproduction in organism. Reproduction in organism. So this chapter is having two basic things, two main parts, that is what is reproduction and what type of organism we are going to study for this purpose, that is reproduction. If we talk about the reproduction means a process by which we can produce a new offspring. Reproduction is a process by which we can produce a new offspring, but there is if and but also. This offspring should be produced in natural environment. And why we are saying that it should be produced in natural environment means a production from a test tube baby. That is, a test tube is responsible for the formation of a baby. That is not known as a reproduction. That is artificial reproductive technique, not a reproduction. But reproduction should be taking place in a natural environment. And the third point, this things to be done to continue the generation. And why we are saying this, to continue the generation, because we know that if a donkey is crossed with a horse, it forms a mule. This mule does not have tendency to reproduce further. Therefore, this is not regarded as reproduction. That is a different part, that is known as copulation. That is not reproduction, because the offspring which has been formed that do not have the tendency to continue the generation. So these are the three main points which our reproduction have. Now, what type of organism we have to discuss? The organism we have to discuss is plant or animal. We have to discuss reproduction in plant and reproduction in animal. Before starting this, we should study what is reproduction. We have got that reproduction is a process by which a new offspring will grow. एक नई संतान पैदा होगी, वो भी इसमें एक नेचुरल एनवायरनमेंट में होना चाहिए, और उस ऑर्गेनिज्म के अंदर टेंडेंसी जो पैदा हुआ उसके अंदर टेंडेंसी होना चाहिए कि जनरेशन को आगे बढ़ाया जा सके, टू कंटिन्यू द जनरेशन. Now this reproduction is of two types. When we talk about this reproduction is of two types. That is asexual method of reproduction and sexual method of reproduction. Asexual method of reproduction and sexual method of reproduction. Let's have what is this. Asexual method of reproduction means only one parents are involved in this. Only one parents are involved. Doesn't matter male, female, hermaphrodite, doesn't matter to us. Only one parent is responsible. But in the case of sexual reproduction, we require both the parents, that is male and female. Both the parents, that is, we should have, that is female and the male, both we should have. Now, in the case of asexual reproduction, what happens? A single organism is responsible to form an organism, so it means the most of the DNA, means we can send 100% of the DNA is copy from this parent to this offspring. It is sure that every DNA will be copied, and therefore whatever the offspring we will form, there is no variation. There's no variation in them, and this offspring must be known as clone, because it is very much similar, we can say exact copy of the parents. But when we talk about the sexual reproduction, in the case of sexual reproduction, what happens if a male and female cross with each other, they fertilize to form a zygote which develop into a new offspring, Now this new offspring is have a variation from its parents, and this variation is very important for continue the generation. And why this variation is important? Because organism get adapted to the environment. Now here why this variation is occurring? Because few of the DNA is coming from the male and few of the DNA is coming from the female. This male and this female is responsible to give DNA to the zygote, means this zygote have DNA from this and this also, therefore they are having the variation, and this is very important for the continuity of the life. In the next of the video we will discuss why this asexual and sexual have different types. For example, if we talk about asexual reproduction, we are having banded fission, we are having fragmentation, we are having regeneration, we are having spore formation, we are having vegetative propagation. What is the basic difference between these points? We will discuss in the next video. Thank you everyone. Thank you so much.